what the dreamers dream. Hello, investing friend of financial freedom, and welcome into Investors Club. Got a great show for you. I've been doing so much work to get the club going for us, and we're finally ready. This is the first episode. I deleted the other streams because it got us going to get all the technical stuff worked out. We're all ready. Got it so much worked out just with the technical stuff. But I have 7 portfolios of a universe of the best stocks in the world for us to pick from, because indexing is over and stock picking is back in a big way, and that's what we're doing every market day here together. And today we're looking at we did our first biotech in a long time, and it exploded yesterday, more than doubled, and we're going to take a look at it today. If you want to get these emails ahead of time before we talk about them on the show, before they double, sign up for the newsletter in the description, sign up for the free thing, and get the free book to see if you want to. All right, let's see this thing. Great to see you guys. So happy to be doing this again. All right, so we had the Cassava Sciences disappointment. Hope I wasn't talking too close to the microphone there already. Had the Cassava Sciences disappointment, and this is our first. So we had no biotechs, couldn't even look at a biotech for 6 months, but we were ready to get hurt again, ready to love again. Our first biotech since Cassava, and it was too interesting not to pass on to you. If I didn't share it with you, I was afraid we were going to miss something special. And if you didn't get it, I'm afraid you just missed the beginning of something special. This stock just more than doubled, but it's got a lot to go. This stock has all the characteristics of a big biotech opportunity, with a lot of room for aggressive expansion. It's founder run. Founders outperform, especially in tough times. Founders care. They're not careerists bouncing around, playing defense, protecting themselves. It's addressing one of the world's largest unmet medical needs. This thing is on its way to outstripping cancer, possibly. It's on its way to being a peer of cancer. And nobody is going after it. This stock is trading at all-time lows. It just got recent funding. It's perfectly positioned to get government funding. It's a small molecule. Small molecules got poleaxed in the last administration in favor of biologics, and that is sort of just in favor of the big guys. Biologics are harder to do. And also, the consumers would just prefer small molecules anyway, because they're so much cheaper, so much easier to make. Anyway, this one's a small molecule, and those things, they got their, a lot of people think they're going to get some relief there. So it has the current legislation built into its valuation, but that could easily, the market exclusivity could easily double for those things. It has a platform that represents a whole new paradigm, not just a product. It has a whole new paradigm, a platform. We did Fusion Pharmaceuticals, and it 10x got bought out, a 10x takeout, and it was a platform, a lot like this one, an early stage platform. Didn't even have anything ready for the market, but we got into the right area, it seemed, at the right time, and that was radiopharmaceuticals. And then radiopharmaceuticals got hot, and that thing surged. This area here could easily get hot. It has been fast-tracked by none other than the FDA. It's demonstrated efficacy and safety in 2 phase 2 trials. It has a small catalyst that was a month ago. And mammoth upside, the average analyst price target is 1,600% higher. And not many of those around, is there? The enormous unmet need this company is going after is antimicrobial resistance. And so this is when bacteria, virus, and fungi evolve to resist the treatments we have for them. And that's a problem. You've heard of this. We've all heard of this. It's a huge problem already. 1 to 5 million people already are dying from this. But at this trajectory, there'll be more people dying of antimicrobial resistance in 2050 than are dying of cancer today. Roughly 10 million dying of antimicrobial resistance in 2050, and there's 9.7 roughly million people dying of cancer today. And then a big problem here is that resistance to one antibiotic can lead to resistance to others in that same class. So it's critical to always be developing, to innovating new therapy classes. So how's that going? How is that continuous innovation is key? Resistance to one antibiotic can lead to resistance to other antibiotics in the class. Continuous innovation is key. How is that continuous innovation going anyway? Well, nothing in the 2020s. Okay. How about the 2010s? Nothing. Okay. How about the 2000s? Nothing. Okay. The 1990s, good era for sitcoms. Had to be something there, right? Nothing. Hasn't been anything since 1984. Huxley would approve. 41 years since there's been a class. This company has a whole new class to treat 20 to 25% of antimicrobial resistance. Big Pharma has tried numerous programs after losing a bunch of money. They've largely given up. Nobody's treating this. Nobody's going after it. This problem is going to be as big as cancer, and it's going unaddressed, hence the mammoth opportunity that exists for us. Now we're getting bullish on a biotech here, so we must point out biotechs and other unprofitable companies underperform as a group. And so Mercado Libre, Topicus, that type of stuff is what if you want to be a little more sure. But if you're looking for a big score in a short time, biotech is the area that serves them up. 1 month later, this thing surged. Biotechs, every day you look in the biggest movers, there's usually a biotech up more than 100%. And we just called one here. In addition to the uncommon upside in individual biotechs, there is reason to believe we're coming up on a golden age in biotech, a major turnaround and a golden age. Biotechs have suffered at the hands of big pharma co-opting the FDA and other regulators forever. The healthcare system is generally a mess, and especially so when it comes to sending a winning therapy, sending a good therapy down a winning path, unless it's owned by big pharma. And then on top of the unlevel healthcare playing field, the capital markets are broken. These companies, the capital markets, the stock market exists in part so that a company with a good drug for people can raise money by issuing shares and develop the drug. And these buttheads have ways of issuing fake phantom shares, as many as they want legally with the market maker's exemption. And it's a mess. That is not an exaggeration, what I just described. And look at what has happened to healthcare. This is median returns. So over the last 10 years, if you own the average healthcare stock, if you took every healthcare stock and their average yearly return over the last 10 years and lined them up by how they did and took the one in the middle, that's the median. How did it do? It was down 9.59% every single year. That means you lost 2/3 of your money, and then you got another third lost or whatever from inflation. So you got like 1/6. I'll put my money in this defensive healthcare sector. You have 1/6 of your money 10 years later, 1/6, and that's on average. These companies have been getting destroyed by the scam that is the healthcare system and the scam that is the capital markets. And this is healthcare. That's not even just biotech. Biotechs would be worse. But all of that is actually an opportunity, because that wasteland that is the healthcare system and the capital markets is all priced into this stuff. And on both ends, they could be getting relief. We could be coming up on a golden age. RFK cleaning up the regulatory environment. We just wrote an article today noting, because there's about a company in phase 2, and we noted it happens to be in cancer, that it had a good phase 1, good phase 2, and then in cancer you do efficacy in phase 1, and then they're also made their trial to be possibly approvable in phase 2, and now RFK's FDA just said we're doing a new program trying to get things approved in 1 to 2 months instead of 10 months as a part of an overall program to try to get more good therapies on the market. So that's just great news for all biotechs, golden age of biotech. And he's cleaning up the regulatory environment, so maybe this stuff is over. And with the international stuff, we talked about TGTX. We wrote about it. We had to take that stream down because we're going to do it again because there's bad audio and whatnot. But TGTX, the idea on that one is that there's Donald Trump's equalization of drug prices around the world. Well, if that happens, and it's no guarantee, but if it happens, that it does an end around the corrupt healthcare scam system. And so that's another great reason to think that the biotechs could be in for a golden age. And then on top of that, we have a president with a stock, Trump Media, whatever it's called. That stock was victim of that phantom share stuff. And the CEO publicly said how awful it was. So we could be getting some relief over there as well. On top of that, we think we're going to get a biotech stimulus package because of both populism and politicians wanting votes and the baby boom generation needing therapies, So we think it's gold. We think biotechs are set up pretty darn well after a long, dark, cold, lonely winter. Could be in for a golden age. And so here we have a novel antimicrobial resistance platform that could be a home run in a sector that could be about to experience a golden age. And the specific area of AMR looks especially ripe for government stimulus because there is already legislation in Congress in the Pasteur Act for this exact stuff. A manufacturer of an FDA-approved antimicrobial drug may apply to Health and Human Services to have the drug designated as critical need, and the Health and Human Service may enter into a subscription for it. And or shall award grants, develop a list of prioritized infections for which new drug development is needed. So this legislation just needs to be pushed through. So it's quite a setup. I was afraid not to share it with you. The stock is Acurx, ACXP. Founded by current CEO David Lucci, who had the good taste to attend Bucknell University, my alma mater, Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, Bison Strong. Mr. Lucci, he's a lawyer, he's an accountant, served on a number of biotech boards, served in a leadership position on a company that got taken out by Abiona, another company I've written about. He wheeled all of that great reputation in biotech into eventually funding a new company, Dipexium, fighting skin infections, and he seemed to have ambitions to make that company into a overall infection fighting company, but they had a failed phase 3. Nevertheless, he was able to secure a buyer for the company. Then he started again with our hero today, Acurx. The mechanism of action here is based on interfering with DNA replication of the bad bacteria. And so gram staining is a method of differentiating bacteria based on their cell wall, and they can be gram negative or gram positive. And you're thinking to yourself, please be gram positive. And which ones are they going after? They're targeting interfering with DNA replication in gram positive infections. Heck yeah. Yes. Gram positive infections account for roughly 20 to 25% of global AMR deaths. And so what they're doing, this next part here is brilliant. This is what differentiates them. So this is not, they're happen to be targeting DNA polymerase 3C. Okay. And they're doing it in gram positive bacteria that have low guanine cytosine content in an enzyme in their DNA. Why is that important? Because it's the bad bacteria. It is the bad gram-positive bacteria that have low guanine cytosine content in an enzyme in their DNA. And so what that means is it spares the good stuff. So when you take the antibiotics now, it kills all the good stuff. This spares the good stuff, a significant advantage over old-line broad-spectrum antibiotics. It's a major feature of their lead drug, ibezapolstat, in C. difficile. C. difficile is their lead indication. And if it is validated in phase 3 in C. difficile, then they move on to all the other resistant bad guys. So there's a number, if it works in that 1 gram positive one, that it should apply to all the other ones. And so here we have them. The other gram positive rebels that play by their own rules include staph. So this is MRSA. So there's 2 different types of staph that this is a problem with. This is MRSA. This is Staph aureus. That kills 11,000 annually and costs $2 billion. And then there's vancomycin-resistant enterococcus. That's important because vancomycin is what this company went up against in its phase 2B, and it's what they're going up against again in their phase 3. And it just so happens that there is a problem with a vancomycin-resistant enterococcus. That one kills about 5,500 people and costs about $1 billion annually. And then there's penicillin-resistant strep pneumonia. We're going to see another type of strep as well. 3,600 deaths annually, 500 million. Anthrax doesn't really kill anybody until somebody attacks, but this is a priority for the company because of the government stockpiling programs. And then C. difficile resistance kills 30,000 annually and costs nearly $5 billion. The company sees a total addressable market they think they can go after of $2.3 billion. So they decided to start there. And then there is Staph SPP. That's about half the size of C. difficile, so still quite large. And then there's Enterococcus SPP, 6,000 deaths, 1 billion. And then Strep SPP, also about 6,000 deaths and 1 billion annually. So if this works in C. difficile, they've got it all over again, like 5 times or 4 times again. In its phase 2A, the drug cured 10 of 10 patients, and its phase 2B, it cured 15 of 16 patients. So 25 of 26 patients, not too shabby. And like we said, they went up against vancomycin in their phase 2B. And now in their phase 3, they're again going up vancomycin. However, in the phase 2B, vancomycin outperformed its predicted efficacy based on history. And it went 14 for 14. It should have been 81%. It was 100%, 14 to 14. The company had this to say. The company is confident that based on the pooled phase 2 clinical ibezapolstat clinical cure rate of 96%, that is the 25 to 26 people across their 2 phase 2s, and the historical vancomycin cure rate of approximately 81% based on their prescribing label, we will demonstrate non-inferiority of ibezapolstat to vancomycin in phase 3 trials in accordance with the FDA guidance. And so in phase 3s, there'll be hundreds of patients. So we are cautiously expecting that the vancomycin will be in line with history, and ibezapolstat will be in line with its phase 2s, and it will succeed. The phase 2s will be run, the phase 3 rather, will be run mostly internationally for the cost savings, we presume. If successful, it'll be the best drug on the market with a $2.3 billion addressable market. Let's say they get $1 billion in peak sales. Now, that's just C. difficile. That is not all the other ones we just looked at. That's not the whole platform. So let's say they get $1 billion at peak. Companies are going for 4 to 5 times peak sales. Let's give it a $4 billion takeout valuation. And so they've got 32.6 million shares now. They just raised today. So they need money. So they need like 50 million to run these trials. Total, they've got I forget, like, I don't know, 10 million or something. They just raised about almost 3 million. But so anyway, 32.6 million shares. We went up to 100 million to account for raising to get their money to run the trials. And so $4 billion across 100 million shares comes to $40 a share. And what was the price when I wrote about this thing? 36 cents a share. And so if this works out, that is a 111x. And again, that is just C. difficile. So I think this is a takeout. I don't think they'll let it get that high. I think it'll be like a 10x takeout like Fusion, if successful. And there you can see it shot up yesterday, 36 cents to 82 cents. Of course, the sticky wicket here is the funding. They need something like 50 million to see them through the trials, but these trials are 10 days long with some follow-up. That is a far cry from something like a 12-month or 18-month trial like Asav did, both a 12-month and an 18-month trial, super expensive. These are way cheaper, and they're going to be international mostly. So 50 million could be more than enough. The analysts like it. The average price target at the time was 617. And frankly, it looks like a tempting risk reward right here. By the way, the reason it went up is because of the data we talked about, where they got 25 of 26 people. That's why. Well, why did it just go up now all at once? Because of Lancet, one of the most prestigious peer-reviewed medical journals in the world, published those results, and now the market believes the results. That's what happened. Tempting risk reward right here, but it's a micro cap that needs funding. Risks abound. They just raise a little bit of money. So be careful out there. All right, my friends, that's it for now. I will see you back here at 10 a.m. every market day. I guess tomorrow's not a market day, so Friday. And I will see you in the Discord right after this. Great to see you. Have a great day. See you in the Discord.